Hi crafty friends, it's Annie from Vintage Lace Journal, and I'm going to be here today and in my next video with a project creating a junk mail journal. So I've seen lots of these. This is one I've gleaned from Tatty Treasure, and I'll link her video below. And another lady, again, I'll link both of those videos below, which is where I got my idea from. So lots of us get these through the post, junk mail. So obviously they come, rip them open, and then we usually throw them away. However, these can be used to make perfect journal page. This one's a perfect example. Obviously my address was in there, but actually, apart from this here, the whole envelope is pretty much clear. So I've been collecting some of these. Some of these are obviously more colourful than other ones. Some of them are just brown envelopes. So again, this one here, there's not much on that, which is perfect for junk journaling. So what I've done is I've collected all my envelopes together, and I'm going to start folding these ready to be put inside my junk journal. Now, the way I've done it, excuse me, is when I folded these, I've tried to leave a fairly big border, because if I fold that in half, it kind of like goes right next to the window, and I obviously don't want that, because I want to be able to do some collaging around the window. And again, obviously, when these windows, or when this is in your book as a page, you can then put things inside your window as well. So I'm leaving a bit of a gap here, so not all of these are folded edge to edge. As you can see on this one, it's folded, it's left quite a big gap here, but that's fine. Obviously, that can become an interactive element once we start putting these together. So I want this page to be my centre page, I know that much, because it's quite plain. And also, don't be afraid to turn your envelopes upside down, okay? Because although this is obviously now where you open it, I've glued this shut, and actually I'm going to recut this to make my opening at the top. So just because your opening is at the top, it doesn't mean that you can't glue that closed and turn it around to have your window on the opposite side. Otherwise, all of your windows throughout your junk journal, if you look at these, it's on the left, it's on the left, it's on the left, it's on the left, it'll become quite boring inside your journal. So you can also fold window on the outside as well as window on the inside, but you can also fold them upside down to have your window in a different place and on the front. Okay, so I'm now going to have a little play around. So like I said, I know I want that one central, and I want that to be my window. So when you come to my central page, it's opened up like that, and I've got a nice pocket in there. I'm not actually going to use these ones for this project. I think they're a little bit garish for my liking. Oh, and the outside, good old Amazon packaging. Once I put all my envelopes together, I'm going to use this nice sturdy card as my cover. I'm going to pop that to the side just for one moment. Okay, so nice fold on there. Love that the stamp's still on this one, so we're going to be using that. So as I do this, I'm also going to be trimming them, because like I said, I know I want the top on this one. So pop it in your trimmer and just take off 1/8 of an inch. Just a small amount. Like that. Tiny little slither. And that obviously then creates the pocket function. So again, for this one, I've resealed this one shut. I do like that at the top. However, I'm going to, because I did close this again, it gives it a little bit of strength. I'm just going to trim that and make sure I don't cut into the stamp. There we go. So I'm going to pop that one and that one and on there. This one has been cut. I'm just going to neaten that up. Sometimes I use a letter opener to try and get a neat edge. So that one's going to stay at the top. Okay. And then this one, again, that's been opened. I'm going to have that one, let me think. So I have that one at the back. I've got window, 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 no window. Right, I'm going to put this one in next. This is a side opener, so I'm going to pop the window on the front And then I'm going to trim that envelope down the side so I can have a side opening. Okay, so that will go there. And then when I come to the back here, there'll be a pocket on the side. That's a nice chunky size pocket there, and probably good for a nice big size journaling card. So what have we got so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just bear in mind, it's not too thick at the moment. Once you start putting layers onto this, laying up paper, putting tags in pockets, it will start to get big. I think I'm just going to have one more. So I might pop in okay, I am going to use one of these. Just going to trim that pocket up. So I've got front, no pocket, so I think I'm going to chance and put it in this way and have something I can pull down perhaps. Don't know, I might glue it shut again yet. Go with the flow. Okay, so there we have all of my envelopes together. And that now measures slightly just over 5 inches, so I'd say about 5 1/8, and then we've got 6.5 inches down. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm just going to pop a little clip on there just to keep them all in place. So once I've got that, I'm now going to bring in the Amagen packaging, and I'm just going to make this bigger than obviously the cover. So I'm going to make this 5.5, and I am going to write this down because my brain is full of work at the moment. So 5.5 that way, and 6 3/4. So I've given a little bit of space each side. So 5.5 this way. Now when you're cutting Amagen packaging, it's obviously quite thick, so it has to come down in certain layers. So 5.5 to start off with. So I'm going to go through that first layer, lift this up, and I'm just going to tear that bit off. Pop it back down again and do the bottom layer. There we go. And any just little pieces like that you can just trim off with your scissors. There we go. So I'm going to open this up now. Just so it is easier to now trim. So like I said, the cover is going to be 5.5 by 6 3/4. Just make sure I've measured that bit right. So 5.5. So I'm going to trim some off the top just to start off with. Because you get that quite bulky bit here. Okay, and then pop the other side in. So 6 3/4. So if I bring this back in now, fingers crossed, you can see that that fits in there lovely. Okay, so there's a little bit of gap when I go to stitch this in all the way around. There we go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to stitch this in, and I'm going to decorate the pages afterwards. Okay, now because these envelopes are smaller here, I'm going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. Now, I've never done a 5-hole pamphlet stitch before, so bear with. It's new to me, so if it's new to you, we'll do it together. Okay, so what we have to do is obviously measure where we're going to put our holes. So the first one is going to be obviously central. So this was 6 3/4, so 3 and I'm actually just going to eyeball it and try and measure it. I'll have to do it in centimetres. So 8.5 centimetres. Okay, pop my tool through, and then measure 1 inch from the bottom, and then 1 in between them two, and then the same here, 1 inch from the top and 1 in between. So there's a roughly just under 1 inch on each one of them, as I say, roughly about just under 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so I've marked my 5 holes. A bit bigger. There we go. So the next thing I need to do is obviously bring my envelopes back and now measure the same place on those envelopes. So bringing that spine in, and I'm going to lay it so it's central to here. So obviously there's a little bit that side and a little bit that side, and I'm just going to measure these with a pencil. There we go. And what I like to do is bring in a rubber and eraser, making sure that they're still all together. Put the rubber down and then come back in with my pokey tool. And that allows me to push right through there without going onto a mat or anything. Okay, so I punched 3 holes through all of those, and then go the other side and punch my other holes. There we go. So that will put 3 holes in these smaller envelopes rather than just 1 hole if you did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, now to use bind this together, because I'm doing a floral theme for this, I found this beautiful book at our charity shop, and it has got the most amazing images. I've cut lots of these flowers out, so I'm going to use that within the journal, but also for collaging. Some of the bigger pages I didn't cut as well. Obviously I can then just sort of tear these out or tear around the other ones. So this one here, it was quite hard to cut it out as an image, but that would make a really good kind of like base layer for a page. So that is going to be the theme of this book. It's going to be a lovely floral theme. So to go with that, I've got this green twine. Okay, somebody's at my door. I will be back. Okay, so I'm using this thread. It's quite wide, so I'm going to make sure that my holes are nice and big. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 times my journal height, but also because I want to use this for my clothes on the outside, I'm also going to do another 2 because I wanted to wrap around my journal. In fact, I'm going to do 3 just to be on the safe side. So, thread my needle. This is quite a nice big needle. I'm actually wondering whether this is going to go through. It's quite a chunky cord. Perfect. Okay, so like I said, my first time doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, usually we start from the inside and go out and we tie in the middle. But like I said, because I'm using this, and like the lady did in her video as well, I want to start and end on the outside. So I'm going to be going through my journal cover first, and these have all come out of order, which isn't great. Oh, I'm hoping this is going to grab in the right place. So put it through your middle hole and then go through those papers. I've messed up, so I'm just going to have to just re-thread these. Once they're all in line again, it should be okay for the next one. Okay, and then pull that through. Okay, so now I'm going to go back out the next hole. It's this smaller one that keeps going out of line. There we go. So back out the next hole up. And I think I definitely should have made my holes bigger. Okay, so now I'm going to go on the outside back in to the next one. And wiggle that through. There we go. And then back down through this one. So it kind of like sees you've got the kind of like running stitch there. Then smooth that out of the way. Back in through that central hole. These holes will be massive by the time I've finished. There we go. Then down to the next hole. Just making sure I've got all of those layers. And back out. And down to our next one. And back up. Keep making sure it's nice and tight. And then back out to the outside again. There we go. So got all of our holes in the middle. So just going to bring that underneath this loop we made here and pull the needle out. And then I can just tie that closure on the outside. So once and once for luck. So that's tied all those envelopes in there, and that is then going to be wound round for the closure. Okay, so that's quite a nice piece out there for our closure. So let's have a look at what we've made today so far. So we've bound the journal with this kind of twine, and then inside, which I'll obviously decorate next time we come together, we've got our first one here, just a plain page, or no it's not, it's that pocket. And then we've got plain bits, got that bit at the bottom there. Let me make sure this is actually upside down. There we go. Try again. Silly. Okay, so we have our front cover with our page. So pocket, not on this one. So I needed to, oh that's why we're doing a side pocket, weren't we? On that one. And then we've got the pocket there. These two are plain, so I might use this as a double page to decorate that, and I might attach some pockets or a belly band. Got the nice element of the stamp in there, so when I go to colour them, and then you choose the colourings for that page, I'll link it in with that kind of colour. And I trimmed that part down, so we've got a top pocket there. Then we've got the kind of like main spread at the top, and like I said before, I trimmed the top of this pocket, and we've got that lovely little window there, ready to be filled. Then we've got the other side of this one with top pocket and the window this side, plain one this side, the pocket in there, another one here with a pocket at the top, just a plain square there. I might, on this one, do some kind of like flap, so it flaps open. And then we've got our one at the back there and our back cover. So this has been part 1 of my junk mail journal. So part 2 will be, like I said, using pages from this book and these beautiful images to decorate the inside. So hopefully you'll be able to gain some inspiration from today's video. Have a go at making your own junk journal with all your junk mail envelopes, and join me again for part 2 when we will be decorating this together. Take care, crafty friends. See you soon.